500 to 1,000 transactions per second happening right now on the Solana blockchain. This is not just theoretical. We're going to release this in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Um, what's like? What are the limitations? I mean, can you guys do you have smart contracts? The ability to put smart
Yeah.
contracts on your blockchain, and is it any different
Yeah.
than Ethereum and their approach?
Yeah, it's quite different. EVM is like one of the another thing that I feel like is holding back the industry. EVM is a really kind of slow sequential virtual machine that's stack based, that's got these massive 256-bit values. It wasn't designed for speed in any way.
For those who
And it has
don't,
this,
for those watching don't know, EVM is the Ethereum virtual machine that basically runs the Ethereum network. Go ahead.
it's, yeah, it wasn't built by folks that have been like optimizing virtual machines for a decade. uh, so uh, we are using Berkeley Packet Filter, which is a virtual machine built by the Linux kernel community. It's designed to execute inside the Linux kernel. So it has the highest security requirements out of any VM out there, but also the highest performance requirements because it's used for network switch operation. So BPF on its own has been demonstrated to do 60 million packets per second inside the Linux kernel. So it kind of has these really nice uh, optimizations that make it really easy to optimize it on modern day hardware. So this is why we chose BPF as our target virtual machine. So the way that you use it is Solidity or in Ethereum has this implementation that's also the standard, kind of one vertically integrated thing where Solidity compiler spits out EVM bytecode that's executed on the EVM virtual machine. Uh, BPF, because it's a standardized language, has LLVM as its compiler, which is a standard compiler used by Apple, Intel, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, you name it, to compile any number of front-end languages. Right now, we are primarily focusing on Rust as our smart contract language. And it's kind of, if you're familiar with Java, C++, you should be able to pick it up in a week. It's a modern version of this, so it has a lot of advancements in type theory have been adopted in Rust. It was built initially by the Mozilla team, but is now, I think it's been voted number one as the most favorite language by GitHub engineers. I think it's in the top 10 or top 15 in terms of popularity on GitHub as a language. Most modern blockchains themselves are built in Rust, which is interesting. It's being proposed as a language for the Linux kernel, which is kind of mind blowing to me because I worked in the Linux kernel, and it's